Welcome to Answers for Today. It's so good to be with you today. Chris, we have an exciting program. We get to talk about, I think, one of our favorite topic is Israel.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to kind of sit back and allow you to introduce our friend here. And then let's ask him some questions about Israel, because I know that our audience loves Israel. And, you know, we travel there. We love to be there. So, Chris, why don't you introduce him and let's get it going.
My pleasure to do so. I met Shalom in our trip that we went there in 2016, and so we've been using Corral as our agency that takes us to Israel for the last 3 years running, and we have another one set.
So our audience, corral is not
That is-
like corralling sheep or goats or something, right?
Actually, I think it is spelled the same way. But I'll let him explain the name and why he does it. One of the nice things about it, when we first got into the country, the first year that I had met you, they met us at the airport, which was kind of unusual. So the owner of the agency will come and meet you there, and then you come and meet us on one particular day when we get to the Golan Heights. We hear about it in the news all the time, and you give your testimony there. And so this is when our entire group every year really gets a chance to know a little bit about why you do what you do and your reason for wanting to bring people to the country. And I thought we would start there. So that would be an interesting thing. You give a chance to tell us about your history and who you are and what you've done, and then what really made you want to bring people to Israel. So let's start there.
First of all, I would like to start to appreciate very much the hospitality here and to be here with you and to present Coral. For over 23 years, I served in the Israel Defense Forces. And I became a full-bird colonel, deputy chief of logistics for Israel Defense Forces. And when I reached the age of 40, I had the privilege to leave the Israel Defense Forces due to the fact that I served in the front line for many years. And I asked myself what I should do next for my country.
Yes.
And I decided to bring Jewish people, to be involved with the Jewish people. This is what I know. For me, at this stage, Jesus was a name. Like Pat, like Bob, like Clark, like Shalom. It doesn't mean for me nothing. And I know that up to the time that I will not learn about Jesus, I cannot handle people that love him. And I start to bring Jewish people, bar and bat mitzvah, from the state to Israel. Those days I used the guide in Israel are freelance. And they came to me and they know me and they said to me, Shalom, you are so good in logistics. Might be it's excellent that you'll start working with a Christian. And I said, no. I ignore to do this job for many years. It's happened to me up to a time that one night I went to sleep. I dream, I know it was a call. And I got a call that said, Shalom, now it's the time for you to go to the Christian side. I wake up in the morning, as I was shaved in the morning in Israel, a guide named Ronnie called me and said to me, Shalom, might be you will start today with a Christian. Like he knows all the story. I said to him, I'm ready. What do you have to say? He said, I have a pastor in Calvary Chapel Bible Fellowship. His name is Pastor Clark. He's looking for somebody to take him to Israel because he was not happy from the travel agency that took him to Israel before. I said, I'm ready to talk to him. He gave me his phone number. And I have, there is a gap between hours from Tel Aviv up to the States is about 9 hours time. So in 9 hours, the Israeli officer, and I know the intelligence is number one important. I start to look any place, Google and name it. and to learn about Calvary Chapel and to learn about this pastor and his kids and his family.
Wow.
This is Clark Van Wyck.
Yes.
Clark Van Wyck.
Yes.
And afternoon, when the time come, it was 9 o'clock here, I made a call. And I asked for Pastor Clark. And I got an answer, yes, Pastor Clark speaking. I said, Pastor Clark, my name is Shalom. He knows about me. Let me talk to you, please. He said, okay, talk. And in 15 minutes, I talked to him like, I didn't breathe. I don't want him to stop me to say to me, hey, guy, I mean, listen, take your time, go to other ministers, other Christian people, the small ones, do your exercise. When you'll be ready, come to me. When the conversation was over, he said to me, give me some time. I know that he wants to talk to him, he wants to talk to his wife, and later on we talk again. We talk and he told me, Almog, I decided to come with you.
Wow.
This changed my life. I said, Pastor Clark, let me ask you one condition. I said, what? I said, I would like to come with you from day one up to day whatever to drink from the water.
Mm.
And that's what happened. And I fall in love with this pastor. He became my mentor. And since that time, I said, I came back to my wife, said, Irit, I love you very much. I love my kid. I love my grandchildren. And I love my country. But let me do now what I would like to do. She said, no problem. Tell me, what do you like to do? I said, I'm going by myself to the state, and I will start to bring Christian people to the land. And that's what I did for, I think, 18, 19 years.
Wow.
I went to the state by myself. I create a travel agency named Coral. In a minute, I'll tell you why Coral. And I start to go from one church to another church. Not that I would like to bring all of them, because I don't want to be a humongous travel agency. I would like to be with the size of boutique, that I will have a time to come here,
Yes.
to talk to you guys, to go to other pastor, to talk to him, to spend some time, to answer his question, to love the people.
That's,
So I cannot do it when I have so many people, so I need to sit behind the table and write only invoices all the time.
yes.
So that's what I did and what I do and what I will do up to the rest of my life. I know that my kids ask me day and night, Father, it's about time to go back home. We would like you to play with us, to play with the grandchildren. You have 9 as of today. I said, listen, guys, you know how much I love you. But up to my last breathe, I will go to the Christian people.
Wow.
And I'll try to serve them because I'm a servant. And that's what I'm doing.
I gotta ask you. That's fascinating. But what you have passion for what you do. Can you tell me what happened to your life that all of a sudden you were willing to come over to the United States? Is that something drive your heart? Is
I
there,
tell you exactly.
yes.
It's when I got the call,
Amen.
and then I said I need to treat you excellent in Israel, but I cannot treat you excellent in Israel when I don't know you. I don't know you as a pastor. I don't know you as
Wow.
a leader of the church. I don't know the people, and I love people.
Yeah, there you go.
And I come here and I talk sometimes to the pastor direct. If we have time, sometimes I talk to in the church.
Yes.
Sunday I talk to the people in the church from morning up to night, and I try to tell them how much I love them, and you know the problem that I face up to the time that the people knows me, that I'm looking like a businessman, you know, a travel agent
Yeah.
that wants to make money.
Yeah.
To good life, to live a good life. It's very hard for me to explain to people and to touch their heart. It took some time.
Mm.
So due to this fact, I need to be here to talk. I was yesterday and day before yesterday, I went for lunch and breakfast. Pastor Brian Bell, breakfast yesterday, Pastor Clark for lunch, and I finished to eat the lunch or the breakfast. It's not important. A family came to me during the breakfast and lunch and said, Shalom, we miss you. We came one time with other pastor, Vista pastor, or Observator. Now we are with Clark. But we would like very much to know what happened to you, when we will see you again. It's happened with Pastor Clark. It's happened with Pastor Brian Bell. Brian Bell said to me, what's happened here? I said, I don't know. I love people. I love people, and I love serve them.
Well, here's one of the things he had mentioned about wanting to be not so big that it becomes impersonal, which is a really easy
that's
thing
what
to do.
I'm enjoying what he's saying.
Well, when we get off of the plane and we're there at the airport in Tel Aviv, we will be greeted usually by somebody from the agency, but more importantly, once we pick up our luggage, he had mentioned his wife Irit. Either she'll be there or he'll be there, or potentially even both of them. And we're going to be greeted by the owners of the company. And they'll make sure that we get to the bus, and our guide will also be there. And we'll get ourselves loaded up on the bus. When that first happened, that first year, we were also given a phone and said, you might need this here in case you don't have one. And it has their numbers loaded into it in case you need to get in touch with them, or if you need to use it for local calls. And I remember looking at the pastor that was with us, and I looked at him, I said, what just happened? Because we're not used to that kind of one-on-one. We're not used to that kind of they know you by name, you know them by name, and when you give them a hug, it's not just because you're supposed to, it's because you actually know these people. And the fact that he wants to spend a day with us and give his testimony there there on the Golan Heights at Ben Tal, it's a surreal thing, and he's able to point out little bits and pieces that are very, very important. But it's one thing to say we want to give personal service. It's another thing that for the 3 years running and every year that we'll be with you from this point on, we will know that they'll be there in the personal sense. They're there at the farewell dinner as we have our last meal there before going to the airport. Either he or she or both will be there with us, and they'll have one of their agents that is there also at the airport making sure that we get through security and everything else. It's mind-blowing. And so it's very personal.
Before you ask them another question, I want to make sure I let the audience know. I'm putting up their website, corraltours.org, up on the site here. Up on the screen, so you'll be able to see it. I would encourage you to jot it down, the contact, let your pastors know, and you pastors, like you said, you could pick up the phone, email him, and we'll put his phone number and all that up there also, so you too can take part in what Chris here is talking about. As I would highly, highly exhort you, already from the beginning of the program, take your church to Israel. Yep. You'll never regret it. So, Chris, what any more?
Let me throw in one other thing along those lines. When it comes to getting into the country and getting a chance to see it, we're taking a tour there next year in February. If the people who are watching have an interest in going, this is open to all the people who either view or hear our program. And we believe firmly, you and I, we've had this conversation that for a person to ever take a trip of Israel, they will begin to read the Bible visually in a way that they never would have done before.
It changes your life.
Revolutionizes it. And here's one of the things I'll always say. Never have I met the person who has gone on one of the tours that we've gone and seen the sites who's come back and said, yeah, it was okay. I could take it or leave it. They all come back and their lives are absolutely changed in the most fundamental of ways, that from time to time when they're reading, just on our last trip, we were going through the book of Exodus, teaching through the book of Exodus, and mentioned a couple of the locations, and they go, I remember seeing that. I remember seeing it. I can see it in my mind's eye. I remember it like it was yesterday. And so they'll never forget. It's indelibly impressed. And that's after one visit. You talk to the people who've been there for a second time and said, how did I miss that the first time? Because it's so much to try to take in, but it makes the Bible more than just, we believe it to be beyond literature. We believe it to be the Word of God, But then when you're able to put a visual with it, it changes you.
Yes.
It just changes you.
We used to say that when the people come back from the trip, before they went to the trip, they came to the church every Sunday. They open the Bible, they read from black on white. I mean, this is the Bible, and they agree. But when you came back from the trip, the Bible start with the color, with the color. I mean, you stand, you read the Bible, and you said, "This is the place that Jesus talked to the disciples." We stood there.
Yeah.
We went to the garden tomb, and guess what? He is not there.
He's not.
And they look on the
Yes.
tomb, and he's not there.
Yes.
So I mean, they are learning so much in the church, and when it's complete the view of the sites. Talking about coming to Israel, not because I'm asking you to spend money, but I'm telling you, honestly speaking, as many times as you can, because you don't know at first what to do first. To open the Bible, to read the scripture, to listen to the pastor for what he said, to take a picture in the site, to feel Jesus with you on the site. You don't know what to do first. This is the reason to come again, again, and again.
Let me jump in for a second, then, Chris.
I'm going to show a picture real quick.
Okay. Well, on Sunday nights, I'm going through First Kings.
Okay.
And we just were with Elijah and the prophets.
Yes.
And we're up in Mount
Correct.
Carmel.
Correct.
And you take us
Absolutely.
right there.
Absolutely.
So all of a sudden that whole passage of scripture comes alive to everybody.
Absolutely,
Yes.
Pastor. It's amazing how people touch the Bible, and they understood from first moment that they step in Israel that the Bible come alive. I'm telling you, and it's affected them very, very much.
Wow.
You know, I used to always to say that I have two difficulties in my life. The first one, when I go from church to church and talk about Israel, and told them exactly what you said.
Yeah.
They look at me at first that I'm a businessman
Yeah.
that wants to create more movement to Israel. At second, they said, might be he's right, but it doesn't give them motivation to go to the land. The second time, when they leave Israel, after the farewell dinner, when I said to them, hey guys, let's go to the bus, we're leaving, they start to cry.
Yeah.
They're all the bus, we don't want to go.
We don't want to
They
go.
leave a piece
Fingernail
off
marks.
the line. Yes.
In the pavement.
On the bus.
You can't get-
Absolutely. They don't want to leave.
Chris, why is that?
Well, here's the thing. This will make sense to you. This has always been our perspective
Can you
of the
hold
Sea
it
of
to
Galilee.
the camera?
Sure. This has always been our perspective of the Sea of Galilee. It's that little blue dot. And then a little further down is the Dead Sea. That's what we think of when if we've never been there, we know the map, right?
Yeah.
Now you talk to a person who's been there, and you would say, what do you want to know?
Yeah.
You want to know what it looks like from the north, south, east, west? What do you want to know?
Yeah.
What place is where and where is everything? If you have a good ability to
Well,
kind
you
of orient
get a
yourself.
lay of the land, a topography,
Absolutely.
everything that when you're there.
Well, you mentioned Carmel.
Yeah.
Okay, I can show where it is on the map, but I can tell you what it looks like with your eye.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be standing on Carmel and you're going to look, there's not a lot to see basically to your west. The Mediterranean's out that way.
So if you look for that one little cloud, right?
There you go. That's what you want to do. But if you're going to look down the valley, people would know it as the Valley of Armageddon or the Jezreel Valley. It's
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
right there.
Sure.
Right in front of them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I especially on a clear day, I can say, well, that is Megiddo right there, and further out in the valley, that's where that's Gilboa, and that's where Saul was he died there, and
You're
over
able
here
to
is
look
Nazareth.
look across the valley.
Sure.
And you see this mountain.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's Nazareth, and on the other side is Tabor, and so you've just covered 3,500 years of history. And the important part of it is to be able to say, and by the way, just remember this, that Jesus grew up in that little town right there looking at the Valley of Armageddon as a
That's
child.
amazing.
Mind-blowing stuff when you start to, but see, then it starts to really take shape in the heart and the mind of the person. And so I was 30 years just about walking with the Lord, having never seen the land. And as a pastor, especially as a pastor or a person who teaches the Bible, if you've never had a chance to see it, it's a difficult thing to try to paint a picture of the land Oh, but my goodness, once you've seen it with your own eyes, you're able in much different, in a much different way.
Absolutely, absolutely. When I stood in front of the group, basically, I told them, this is my feeling. I stood in Israel for so many years. Before the Independence War, I was born 1945. I'm about to be 74 next February. And I protect this land from the enemy around us for so many years.
Yes.
I create this land with my hands and with others. For what reason? That he sometimes will come, I hope tomorrow,
Yeah.
to this land. But you guys need to understand that you are believers, that you protect this land with your spirit.
Oh, yes.
And we, as a people, we can do it. We cannot do it by ourselves. We need you. You need to understand, it's not because we would like you to come only for the reason of the Bible, because we need you.
Yeah.
This you need to understand. And the combination between two of us, me and this side, and you on the other side, we will win the war. The war that at the end of the war, Jesus will come.
Isn't that?
Amen.
He's a preacher.
Yeah, yes. Well,
I'm not talking about preacher. I'm believer, and
You're a believer that
this
believes,
is my
yeah.
ministry, and I love you guys. Love you very much.
here's something that I want to make sure that we get in on this program for people to understand: the uniqueness of the nation and its people, its culture, its heritage, its history. You're hard pressed to try to find another example of a group of people, of a culture, of a language, of everything that makes a nation that has ever left the scene in the way that they had been, because we know that they were displaced from the land for some 1900 years. Sure, people still live there, but as a nation.
Yes.
It's unprecedented that a nation of people and of culture and of language and everything else would be displaced, but then brought back together.
Wow.
And we have that in the nation of Israel. It is without precedent. And it's exactly what God promised he would do.
Well, guys, to me, Israel is also a melting pot.
Mhm.
The Jews,
Yeah.
have come back. Muslims, they're there. I know there's over the years, from our perspective, a lot of people would say, I'm afraid to go to Israel. I look at them and says, well, I'm afraid to get in my car to drive down the street. But once you're there, I feel as safe there as driving around California. Speak to the audience a little bit, guys, about if you travel to Israel, how you just the safety and how much you can enjoy.
The problem that I face now, as in the beginning of the show, is if I'll give you all the information, might be you need to order breakfast. I have so much to say. And when you talk about security, there is no place in the world, I'm telling you, that is more safe than Israel.
I agree.
I have kids
I agree.
that
Yeah.
all the time they are going to Tel Aviv, going here and there, riding on the bus.
Yeah.
No one afraid. At the end, on the farewell dinner, I talked to the crowd. I said, people, tell me a little bit of problem that you face. You walk in Jerusalem, in the old city of Jerusalem. You walk in the Sea of Galilee. You walk here and you walk there. Did you feel something wrong? Did you feel that you are not secure enough? They start to laugh at me. I said, what you're talking about? Israel is safe. And on top of it, we are trying to keep it safe.
Sure.
Once you land in Israel, from the time we meet you at the airport, you have your guide, your driver, your bus, your accommodation, and everything is yours. No one enter to the bus. No one interfere you. You are with your group of people that are going all over Israel. So you are pretty safe. And there is no meaning by saying not safe or yes.
Well,
Israel is very safe.
One of the things I do want to say, if you want to go on a trip, in fact, this is probably November when this is airing right now. you might be thinking of a Christmas gift to give your wife or husband. I'd encourage you to make this your Christmas gift. I'll give you a website up here where you guys can link to it, and you can go to Corel Travel. You can sign up, and and now is the time to sign up because it's February where we're to go. The reason why we're going on February because it holds down the cost a little bit, but you'll see everything and just be blessed, huh, Chris?
Absolutely. The idea of safety, just so that people understand, we here, you and I, we live in Southern California. We're not far from L.A.
Yes.
I feel very unsafe walking around the streets of L.A. at night.
I'm feeling unsafe walking around my own city nowadays.
Hey, we walked, we were at the Western Wall.
Yes.
And so we took people there so that they could, that iconic place, and they could go and pray. We walked back to our hotel.
Yes.
We walked through the market, through the
I've
Muslim
done that
quarter.
many times.
Sure.
Yeah.
We walked all the way back to the Dan Panorama in Jerusalem, through the streets and everything else. Felt safer there than anywhere else, and let me at least say why that is. The people who live there are invested in their country. They're invested in the well-being, and their well-being is your well-being, and they realize it.
Hey, and they're just pretty much regular people just trying to make a living.
Absolutely.
I would encourage you to travel to Israel. We got about 2 minutes, minute and a half. Chris, you got one more question for Shalom so we can finish off this first half, and we want to do next week's program.
All
also.
of the questions I could think about asking him would take him another 10 minutes to answer.
I'll give you a short things to say. When I came here and I stand on the podium, talk to the people, I tell them that my wife, she called me and said to me, "Where are you?" I said, "I am in California." "Are you feel safe?" I said, "Why are you asking that? You are nearby Mexico." So
That's beautiful, huh?
I'm telling you, what about safetyness? I mean, Israel is super safe. And you care for you. We care for you. It's not a one-time shot trip. We want to see you again and again and again. So we care for you, and we welcome you, and please come.
And so, on behalf of Answers for Today, we want to encourage you to come to Israel, go to Israel, if not with us. I would encourage you to get your pastor, or you as a pastor, to contact Shalom and Corel Travel, and they would be happy to talk to you, even as he did with Clark Van Wyck a long time ago. One of the things that we have in Israel, not only do we have history past, like Chris was talking about, and we want to talk about on next week's program, but we got history in advance that we're able to look at. It's just thrilling. It will change your life. So again, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. We're exhorted to do that, and may God richly bless you.
About this broadcast, or if you have any questions, feel free to mail us at Agape Chapel OC, P.O. Box 4023, Huntington Beach, California, 92647. Or you can email us at aft@agapechapelOC.org. Or visit our website at agapechapelOC.org. Until next time,